You believe. My beliefs. We all believe in something. We go by our beliefs, believing that they are good for us and help us in our smooth and easy life. We tend to believe in certain things the way we want. It is good to believe, we often say, when we want to assert our viewpoint, leaving aside the belief that what is good for us may not be the same for others. But we assert and run our assertion all through the argument. This is called belief system. Some belief systems are inherited. Some are changed as we find them inconvenient for us. We have a habit. We accept only those which are good for us and throw away what is not found good or convenient. Some people think that getting early is very bad and disturbing, so they don't get up early themselves, believing that sleep is good, and so is lassitude, and they prefer to live with it and often boast of their lethargy as their luxury, notwithstanding its negative attribute assigned to this habit by others. So, it is not always preferable to do the same which is practiced by others. Coming back to belief system, what is good for us is good for us only. But we go a step further. We develop our own belief system and merge with what is inherited from our social system and continue to adopt the pattern of life, a way of living which is often customized in accordance with the preferences, and we call this belief system as a religion. What is religion? It is a kind of set of behavior patterns which often overrule our rational thinking, and we use it for our protection. A religion is an amalgam of beliefs and practices. What is practiced by one generation is handed over to the next as belief system, and it is carried on without giving a second thought to the set of beliefs. All religions are dogmatic and insist on their being embraced, practiced, and retained in their original form, leaving behind all the growth and development in the socio-economic ecosystem. And yet, within this very rigidity lies the seed of its own undoing. For no belief system, however fiercely guarded, remains untouched by the wind of time. The child who inherits the temple of his fathers does not always see the same gods on the altar. He sees the shadows they cast, and he begins to question the angle of the light. This is not betrayal. This is growth. This is the quiet, persistent whisper of the individual self, asking, "But what do I believe?" We cling to our dogmas as a ship clings to its anchor, forgetting that an anchor is meant to hold us steady in the storm, not to keep us forever moored to the same patch of sea. The storm, however, is life itself, its unpredictability, its suffering, its unbidden joy. And when the waves rise high, we find that our inherited prayers may not calm them. Our prescribed rituals may not feed the hungry in our own hearts. It is then that we are forced to look beyond the book, beyond the chant, beyond the inherited posture of piety. We are forced to look at the other, the one who believes differently, the one who rises early while we cherish our sloth, the one who fasts while we feast, the one who weeps while we laugh. This confrontation is the crucible. In it, our cherished beliefs are tested, not for their truth, but for their utility. And utility, I submit, is the forgotten metric of all belief. A belief that does not make you kinder, more courageous, more capable of bearing the weight of another's sorrow, is not a belief. It is a decoration. A practice that does not connect you to the living world, to the soil, to the stranger, to the silent cry of your own conscience, is not a religion. It is a museum piece, admired from behind a rope. So, where do we arrive? We arrive at the humble admission that our belief system is, at best, a map. And a map is not the territory. The territory is vast, changing, and often unmapped. To insist that our map is the only one is to court the tragedy of the lost traveler who refuses to ask for directions. To hold our map loosely, to compare it with others, to annotate it with the fresh ink of our own experience, is to become a cartographer of the soul. The logical conclusion, then, is not the abolition of belief, but its transformation. We move from belief as a fortress to belief as a garden. A fortress keeps others out and traps us in. A garden requires tending, welcomes pollinators from elsewhere, and yields fruit that can be shared. We do not throw away our inheritance. That would be ungrateful and foolish. But we compost its dead parts, water its living roots, and plant new seeds alongside the old. We allow our religion, our inherited patterns, to be a lens, not a blindfold. And finally, we arrive at the most radical belief of all. The belief.